What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Recruiting Ain't Easy podcast. My name is Lewis, your host with the most. By day, I'm a recruiter for the New York Army National Guard, and on my free time, I come on here to help you navigate the joining process and to get better prepared for basic training. So before we get into this, this week, I have a very special request to ask of you. Those of you that have been paying attention to me as an individual, my mother passed away due to brain cancer back in September of last year. And I thought my stepfather had everything all lined up and everything. And recently I found out that he basically needs help for paying for the funeral expenses and all the other stuff that's going on. So I really hate asking for it, but if you have the desire to support me and my family in this time, if you don't mind, I pinned a comment down below for the GoFundMe account that I created for my stepfather, for my mother's passing and to celebrate her life and all that stuff. So if you don't mind helping out, that would be great. Instead of giving me a super chat tonight, if you are inclined to do so. Otherwise, you do not have to give me a super chat or participate in the GoFundMe link. This is a personal page. This is not supported by DoD, the Department of Army, all that stuff, right? So just like I said earlier in the stream. So with that being said, we're gonna get right into it and hitting up the first comment of the evening. And I do appreciate all the prayers and the kind words that I got on the community post that I posted earlier yesterday, I believe it was, or the day before. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And for those who have contributed to that GoFundMe, I definitely appreciate your support to the family. Without further ado, going by Mike Reevy. What's up? What's up? Welcome to the stream. We got It's Jace Plays says, I leave for basic training August 4th to go to OSA for 11 Bravo, which is infantry. I have what I think is a wart on the bottom of my foot. It's probably a planter's wart, and they're very painful, especially if it's on the heel and you step on something that gives it direct pressure. And then he says that it causes me no discomfort or pain, but I was wondering if they check for that stuff. Go to your local pharmacy and get a planter's wart solution where it basically like freezes it and kills it. You want to get rid of that because it can lead to it being extremely painful. And you don't want to have to deal with that at basic training. So if you could get rid of that as soon as possible, that would be greatly appreciated. It would be much more beneficial to you. We got New Hampshire tuning in. We got New York. What's up? What's up? We got some new faces in here, or new text, because I can't really see your faces, but I appreciate you. Benjamin, I'm going to come right back to you. All right there, buddy? Because I got a super chat coming in from Jace Chadwick. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And anything that I earn from today through the 21st of next month, I'm going to be contributing to my stepfather for my mother's passing, again, for cancer. So anything that I do earn between now and then will be given to them. But YouTube takes about 35 to 40% of the earnings from the Google AdSense through the super chats and everything else that I acquire through the channel. So it would be best that if you do participate in it, I would rather go directly to the GoFundMe so that my stepfather can use it more appropriately. But with that being said, I do appreciate you, Jason. Thank you so much. I didn't see a comment come in after that, so I'm not sure if you tried to post a comment with that or anything, but I do appreciate it. All right, so Benjamin. Actually, you know what? Let me move this over here so I can see it. So I'm looking at you in the camera. Un momento, por favor. All right, so where was I? So Benjamin says, tuning in from Maine, going to MEPS on Sunday night into Monday. There we go. May the MEPS gods forever be in your favor. Cool. We got It's Jay says, and what should I do? Uh-oh. Oh, yeah. I already addressed that. We got Flo Rida in the house from Mike Reevy. We got Jace Chadwick. Oh, okay. Found it right here. I've been through all my application process, and at MEPS, I was left open. I was provided all the documents they needed, but I'm waiting to hear back. How long do these open medical cases usually take? Also hoping for 35 Mike. Any advice or insight in the future MI workers? No, I have zero knowledge or direct knowledge of military intelligence. Basically, anything that I know would be something that you could do yourself, which is Google or ChatGPT or YouTube, right? So that's pretty much the extent of that. But as far as the medical issues, I'm not sure if you're going to require a medical consultation for whatever it is that they're looking into and why they requested those records. And I'm not sure which component of the Army that you're referring to as far as your medical records. So there's a few variables in there, but it could be anywhere from a few days to, unfortunately, if you need consultations, then it could take several months to get through this process. But without any more context, anywhere from a couple days to a couple months. Mike, thank you so much for your kind words. I appreciate you. Javier Baracaldo says, I enlisted into the National Guard for New York. I ship out on Monday. I did my drill. Every time I got weighed in, they always asked me if I was going to the arms program. Can I join that program once I am there? No, you cannot. Pray for, yes, absolutely. I will definitely pray for you. Consider it done. So you have to be no more than 2% over your maximum allowable body fat from the time that you contracted. As long as you're that, then they'll allow you to go in most cases, but you usually have to be the same or not exceeding your maximum allowable body fat percentage for your age and gender. So hopefully you're doing everything that you're supposed to so that you can ship out and not have any worries, because the risk is, let's say you do leave and you're not within the standard, they will not offer you the 09 Mike program. They will ask you if you flew or you drove, because you're not going to stay there, and they'll send you back home, unfortunately. And again, I'll pray for your family. Jet Views, I'll come right back to you. I want to say thank you to RNM Edit. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for supporting my mother. Where was I? Nope, I wasn't there yet. Jet Views, do you encourage 35-year-olds to join? Yes, I do. And if you're concerned about joining and being at an older age, trust and believe that age, as far as the military is concerned, age is just a number. Like, we don't give an F about your age. It is all up in here in your head, literally. Like, it's all in your head. We really don't care. And to be honest with you, I personally feel and think, through observation and through my experience recruiting for over 20 years, that older folks tend to perform better than a lot of these younger kids that are in basic training. And that's primarily because that you've lived life, you've had responsibility, you've been under pressure, you're probably, doing adult like things for a while, you've traveled, hopefully, right? And your ability to go through stress and manage your stressors will go a long way with you. So they'll look to you as like grandpa. They'll actually call you grandpa, probably, or pops, and they'll look up to you. And yeah, trust me, you'll be all right. In fact, I'm going to post a video that you can check out later. I'm pretty confident that it's also linked down below, but if it's not, it's coming into the chat box right now for you. Mike Reevy, what happens if you're serving and get a DUI on the civilian side? Well, you're going to be punished from both sides, and you're going to be running into the risk of possibly being discharged, depending on the details to the scenario and your leadership and overall your work ethic and your history within the unit. If you're a minimalist or a subpar soldier, you're going to be treated a lot harsher and not given as much grace as far as forgiveness and getting a second chance. So if your work ethic is on point, you do everything you're supposed to, you're otherwise a reliable, dependable, and all that stuff, that type of individual, then you'll receive a little bit more grace, and it's up to the commander's discretion on whether or not they keep you and make you go through various programs and deal with whatever, or if they're just going to chapter you out of the Army if you're a problem child. So it really depends on your company commander and their perception of you. So be the best of the best. You're welcome, Jet Views. It's Jace Place says, my main question is, should my would they disqualify me or hold me for going to basic if I still have a planter's award? No, they're not going to hold you because of a planter's award. You'll move on. They're not going to be concerned about your feet like that. We got Vermont in the house. That's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah. M1 Garrison says, does VA home loan start as soon as you sign your contract? No, it does not. So those of you who joined the regular Army full time, once you complete all of your initial entry training, so basic training, AIT, or OSUT, once you get to your unit of assignment, after 90 consecutive days passes, then you'll be eligible for the VA home loan. For those of us who join the National Guard and Reserve who never deploy, then you have to do 6 years part-time to then get eligible to use the VA home loan. The workaround for that is if you're in the Guard Reserve, if you find a qualifying federal active duty mission or stint or period of time that you could go on 90 consecutive days, then you'll qualify for the VA home loan at that point. Otherwise, again, 6 years part-time. So hopefully that makes sense. Good question. PF Garage says, just swore in as a 92 Yankee and any output on that job. It's like working out of a warehouse. You'll be issuing everything and ordering everything from like from toilet paper to paper clips to weapons to vehicles to you name it, anything in between. It's pretty much all the supplies you think that we'll ever need. You're in charge of that. Carlos Magus says, any advice for rapid weight loss? I don't care if it feels like I'm dying. I went back in by any means. I want back in by any means necessary. Then you're definitely going to want to watch my video right here. It's also linked down below. But this is going to have you leverage the ketogenic diet, the intermittent fasting protocol, and caloric deficit, and walking 1 to 2 hours a day, preferably 20,000 steps per day. You don't have to lift weights or anything, although you can, but walking 20,000 steps per day, I would probably shoot, if you are aggressive enough and you're not feeling like you're completely starving, 1,800 to 2,000 calories per day. And then after like a month or so of that, maybe bring it down to 1,600. And it's going to be very, very challenging. And with the intermittent fasting protocol, I saw the best results when I was following the warrior diet, which was 20 hours of a fast and a 4-hour feeding window where I would consume about 2,000 calories per day. So I actually got as low as like 1,400 if I remember correctly, but I lost 35 pounds in a matter of like 45 days or 2.5 months rather. So it's very, very effective, but you got to keep in mind that with a ketogenic diet, you got to keep your fats at the lower end of the spectrum. So because you're not eating any real carbs because of the keto diet, you want to keep your fats around 50-50 between proteins and fats. Obviously, fats has a higher caloric intake, so it's probably going to be like 60-40, but you want to keep your dietary fat low so that over time, about 3 to 4 weeks into it, your body will fully adapt to the, what do they call it again? It's in the video, ketones. So I don't want to nerd out and take it away from the video, but definitely go watch the video. But keeping your fats as close to 50-50 as possible is going to force your body to tap into your stored fat to get energy. And the video will break it down to you Barney style. So watch that and watch it melt off. Gamer Dad Season says, sups aren't, or what's up, hashtag Team Swortz. Appreciate that. Sorry for your loss, brother. Appreciate that even more. Thank you very much. Taking it one day at a time. I'm 38, headed to basic training Tuesday morning. You know any information about the 94 Foxtrot computer repair? That particular MOS, I know zero about. I would know just as much as you if I Google it or YouTube search it. So late enlistment crew, I got that. But make it happen. I honestly don't know anybody in that MOS either, so I couldn't even direct you to somebody that knows anything about it. But good luck to you. Benjamin Karen says, I'm going through the arms program due to being at like 6%, picked 68 whiskey combat medic as my primary and 15 tango, which is some sort of aviation mechanic, and 25 uniforms, signal support specialist as my alternate jobs. Really only want 68 whiskey. My local unit is a flight unit. Oh man, if I could go back to being part-time, aviation would be the way that I want to go. But you make the choice for you, whatever that may be. But yeah, arms program. I love the arms program, or the 09 Mike program. I love it a lot. And I think it's going to be a great way to introduce yourself to Army basic training and set yourself up so you're not going to get, hopefully not going to get any type of stress fractures or any other injuries, if that makes sense. Thank you for replying. You're very welcome, Jet Views. Benjamin says, oh, that's not for me. Heath Page said, oh, that's not for me either. PF Garage, thanks. I'm 32 and I enlisted active duty. Wish me luck. Absolutely. Good luck. Do your best. Have fun. Make the best of it. Make friends and get MOS qualified. Good stuff. You're very welcome, Carlos. RNM Edit says, I do high protein, low carbs, intermittent fasting, as well as caloric deficit, walking average 12 to 16 miles daily with 10 to 30 pounds. Awesome. That's what I'm talking about. See that recipe right there, low carb, basically almost keto, 12 to 16 miles. That's pretty good. That's very good. That's superb. You're probably seeing really good results right now. How long have you been doing that REM or R&M edit? Do you edit videos? Because I'm just asking because your name says edit, or is it R and medit? R and me? I don't get it. But anyway, I'm thinking like a video editor or something. Carlos says, sorry for your loss. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Is try one contract worth it? If you're coming in part-time, if you just want to try it out and see if you like it for a year, yes. If you're looking to reclass and change your MOS, you're going to have to do at least 2 to 3 years if you want to reclass to a new MOS. You might be able to sign a new contract with a new MOS for a 1-year contract, but I guarantee you your unit's not going to waste their funds to send you to a school to reclass your MOS if you're only on a 1-year contract. So just word to the wise. User guest says, what's the greatest thing that you've learned throughout the years? I want to say it's not even Army related. It's more of a personal thing. And it's genuinely not giving an F about what other people think of you. I spent my better half of my first 10 plus years in the Army worrying about and stressing about being liked, if people approve of me or what they think of me. And you kind of lose sight of who you are as an individual when you live for others like that. So if people don't accept you for who you are, then you don't need them in your life. Now, obviously, perception of your leadership is important because it's your working relationship. And I'm not talking about like towards your leaders. I'm just talking about like people in general and other soldiers when you're, how do I say, like your day-to-day life, right? So that's probably the biggest lesson that I had to learn, was to care less about what other people think of me when it comes to certain things. So just be yourself unapologetically, whatever that is. So if you're quirky and you're cheesy like a mother flower like myself, then be cheesy. You know what I'm saying? And you don't have to be liked by everybody. And more importantly, you should be respected by everybody. That's the key. So that's the switch. We got a howdy from Ian Klopper. Appreciate you. And by the way, user guest, that is a really good question. I like that. Caught me off guard on that. So luckily I thought of something on the fly. So Yadi says, hi, I'm 21 years old. I had some self-harm scars that I was required to get a waiver for back in 2022. I've gone through the steps with my recruiter to get documents I need for both the pharmacy and psychiatric center I went to during the time period of the self-harm. I have a diagnosis of bipolar and depression from when I was younger. I have been off of meds for over 3 years. I just want to know if my whole record or everything that happened when I was young will affect my decision now if I can fully prove functional in society with the character letters from family and friends and so on. So, with that being said, bipolar is going to be probably your biggest hurdle. If it was just anxiety, ADHD, or ADD or depression, to include like suicidal ideation or maybe even a suicidal attempt, the self-harm, if it was a one-time event, then you significantly have a good consideration, a good favor, or you should expect a good favorable outcome. The bipolar aspect of this is my only concern as a recruiter because those are rarely approved. But if you said that you had it approved before 2022, then I mean, I don't know why you were discharged before that. So, yeah, why don't we address that real quick? Why don't you let me know if you got the waivers approved back in 2022? We're now in 2025. Why did you get out prematurely? Were you prematurely discharged? And if you were, you could put yes or no if it was due to mental health or behavioral health issues. Because that's going to be key. Leonardo, I'm going to come back to you because I got a super chat coming in from Red Ivan Military Ing. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and supporting my mother, because that's where I'm sending all my earnings to for the next 30 days. Red Ivan Military says, hello, Sergeant. Trying to get into the OCS for the Army Reserve. ASVAB is 87, has a master's degree with a GPA of a 3.3, but had knee surgery last year. Do you recall cases with approval of individuals with ACL replaced and meniscus surgery? All right. So when it comes to OCS and other opportunities within the Army, as long as you can obtain the medical waivers for anything that you need, then you can pretty much do anything you want within the military. So as long as your medical waiver gets approved, then you're good to go. Now, when it comes to Army Reserve and the regular Army, their OCS is very, very competitive. 3.3, although that's high for my personal standing or standards, it's going to be on the lower end of the spectrum of everyone else who's competing during the board to hopefully go OCS and get commissioned. So in the end, if for some reason the Army Reserve does not accept your OCS request, I implore you to check out the Army National Guard. Your GPA won't matter with us. You don't even physically go before our board. Your packet does. So as long as the OSM, the Officer Strength Manager, converses with you for about 20, 30 minutes and they feel that you can articulate and have a good conversation and you understand English and you're saying all the right things to why you want to be an officer, it's like steering clear of like, oh, I want to make more money and whatever, they will approve your OCS request and you will eventually go to OCS and all that good stuff. So I'm going to put a video in here for you to check out. It's about OCS and the 3 different options. If you go regular Army or Reserve, you only have one option, which is federal OCS. If you go National Guard, we have 2 state versions. You could either do the federal OCS while funding lasts through the big Army, or you could do the state traditional program, which is 1 week in a month for about 14, 16 months. And then you have the accelerator program that you can request while you're doing the traditional part-time one. If approved for the accelerated, the video will go into it more detail, but I think they reduced it to like 9 weeks. They reduced it to about 9 weeks which is a few weeks shorter than the federal OCS. So definitely go check out that video. If you have any more questions about that, you can always direct message me on Instagram right here, or you can shoot me an email if you got any questions about that. Apple boy, go Air Force, please. Why? Why should we go Air Force? Which is nothing wrong with the Air Force, first of all. So don't come at me, bro. I just want to know, like, if you're gonna say something like that, like, give us some context. Why should we check out the Air Force? And understand that it is based on your opinion, your research, maybe your experience, or what have you. But everyone is different. So let us know what makes your unique perspective be more the Air Force be more appealing to you. Let me know. But thank you, Red Ivan Military. Appreciate you. Hopefully that makes sense. Don't mind me. I'm just scrolling back up. While I'm scrolling back up, do me a favor and like the video down below. Sorry, I'm just scrolling back up to see where I last left off. Oh man, I missed it somehow. I got to do the super chat, so I'll be back up there anyway. All right, Zustin, thank you so much for supporting the channel and for my mother for the next 30 days. Anything that I earned through the channel, in case you're new and just tuning in, my mother had passed away back in September, and I'm just trying to help out my stepfather with the expenses and everything that he's been hiding from us due to his age and his generation being prideful and not wanting to ask for help. I'm doing him a favor by trying to help him out by raising some money for him. So I appreciate your submission to the channel. So thank you very much, Zustin. Zustin says that he's prior service Marine, trying to go Army National Guard here. Got out relatively recently, currently on a hold with MEPS for medical history. Am I screwed or should I be okay? Well, without knowing the exact details, I can't give you a specific response. But in general, just so you're tracking, I wished that you had gone through a Marine to Guard recruiter and did a direct transfer from the Marine Corps straight into the Army National Guard. Now, if you had been out for less than 6 months and you're trying to get back in, there was a possibility that your recruiter could have used your current physical health assessment or the equivalent from the Marine Corps and had you completely avoid MEPS and just go in basically and be papers only and sign your contract. So it seems like maybe you've been out for more than 6 months, which would probably, or maybe even a year, which would require you to go back to MEPS. But prior to you joining the Marine Corps, there was nothing in the, no system in place to fact check your medical history. So what you're experiencing now is Genesis, MHS Genesis. Now, if you want to go deep dive in this particular topic, I did a couple of videos when it first came out. So this is the MHS Genesis overview, and then we had like some questions to that, and then we got some updates to that. And so those two videos will geek out on it, but that's what you're facing with. Now, as a result of Genesis existing, Genesis has exposed the true nature of the quality of applicants joining the military. So where in the past were certain things like depression, bipolar, other behavioral and mental health issues, and other medical conditions that were previously disqualifying conditions, no waivers authorized, are now authorized waivers, and as time goes on, reducing those minimum waiting periods for each condition. So I think that Genesis, although hurt us in the beginning, I think in the long run, it opened up the door of opportunity for a lot more people. So if you want to reach out to me directly on Instagram or email, you can hit me up there. Both of these are coming into the chat box, and it's linked down below as well. But without more details, oh, thank you, Zustin. Appreciate that. You got out in October of 2024. Oh, yeah, you're like right at the cusp. I can't remember if it's 6 months or 12 months from the date you got out of the Marine Corps. Yeah, I would have to look at the what we call a SMOM. So we have the regulation, which is like the skeleton, and then we have the updates to the regulation because they don't update the regulation on a regular basis. So we have this thing in the Army we call it AOC. So those are the updates that are not reflected in the regulation yet. And then we get updates to the update, which we refer to as SMOMs, strength maintenance operational messages. So I would have to look up that SMOM dealing with prior service individuals and the minimum waiting or the maximum allowable time that you could be out of service before you could avoid MEPS. So have your recruiter look into that if they're brand new and they just don't know. I can't remember again if it was 6 months or 12 months. It's been a hot minute since I worked with a prior service individual. But with that being said, that's kind of like what you're looking for or looking at. So if you do need a waiver, good luck with that. And if you do need a medical waiver, I have a video that you should check out right here as well. And I got another super chat coming in from It's Jace Plays. Sorry for your loss. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much for supporting my channel and my mother. It means a lot to us. That's over 40 pounds. That's awesome. RNM edit. Again, thank you so much, guys, for everybody that's donating to the channel and to my mother's GoFundMe, which is the preferred method until I close that around the 21st of April. So while I'm scrolling up looking for the next comment, do me a favor and just like this video. All right, so we left off with Leonardo Pallado Vinci says, I am currently in the process of a waiver for one incident of anxiety. It was in 2024, no prescriptions. I'm providing the information they ask, no consult. What are my chances of approval? I think that, all right, so when it comes with anxiety, I know that if medications are involved, which yours is not, it's usually a 6-month minimum waiting period. So because there's no medication and there's a one-time incident, it's not uncommon for them to send you to a psych consultation with a psychologist. And I feel like after that, they will recommend a medical waiver and it will get approved and you won't have any issues. It will not prevent you from joining the military altogether, but depending on your unique circumstances and the details and your records and probably the consultation results, they may have you wait at least 6 to 12 months before saying yes. But in my opinion, I think after 6 months from the last incident, I think that you'll be fine because there was no prescriptions involved. You might not even need a waiver because there was no prescriptions. And depending on like what caused the anxiety, if it makes sense, like an activated event where a parent passed away or your spouse passed away or something that would make sense for somebody to be stressed about or have or feel anxious, then I could definitely see that being approved easy. RNM Edit says, doing about it for 4 months, dropped 46 pounds, almost 50 pounds so far, trying to hit the weight goal to get in hopefully at 21. Grind never stops. That's right. And get after it, guys. Absolutely. 40 pound, man. That's a lot. Let me know if you can hear the clapping on the sound effects here. Let me know. Can you guys hear the clapping in the background? I'm going to turn that down so it doesn't go on too long. But let me know in the chat box if it is. Just one of you. Let me know, please. M. Garrison says, is there any time limit to get medical documents once you go to MEPS and pass, but the doctor wants to see paperwork from LASIK procedure? It's taking me a while to get them. Will they PDQ me if I take too? No. So your medical exam is good for 2 years. So as long as you can source any and all records that they're looking for and you submit those, and if a medical waiver is needed and submitted and approved, then you have up until that 2-year mark to get in there like swimwear, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So you're fine. And it happens. Yates, I'll come back to you because I got another super chat coming in from It's Jay's Plays. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, buddy. It says surely for the misspellings trying to multitask. No worries. I mess up all the time too, so don't worry about it. Here we go. So Yeti says, I was never discharged I was never discharged. I went to MEPS trying for a waiver, never got in. I went all the way to MEPS. She saw the scars and said, I need a waiver. And when I went back, my recruiter looked at me like he's something, so I didn't pursue it. Oh, so you don't even know if it got approved. Gotcha. Well, bipolar is hard to do, but maybe waiver gods forever be in your favor. Apple Boy, why is your rank on your collar? Well, I have rank on my collar. I'm also wearing a black t-shirt. The name tapes don't even say anything about the military. It just says Team Swartz, which is the name of the channel. And my keyboard action badge for me being a keyboard warrior is on my chest proudly. Come at me, bro. What you got to say now? I'm a Pogue. But don't get it twisted. I put the OG in Pogue. Anywho. Yeti says, now I am able to obtain the documents. Just trying to figure out if I can overcome the hurdle at MEPS because I got to swear in and then they told me I needed a waiver. Oh, okay. Yeah. Gotcha. So you passed the medical, but then you were disqualified because you needed a medical waiver. Gotcha. And you just didn't even pursue it for whatever reason. Understood. Carlos, what's up? We don't use official ranks here. You can just call me Lewis here. But I do appreciate you. All right, I'm going to come back to this comment. I'm going to scroll down because I got another super chat coming in from Kool-Aid Man Kill. Says, graduated basic training on the 13th. I am at Fort Eisenhower. Out freaking standing. Who mother freaking Luya. That's what I'm talking about. Like the person said earlier, the grind never stops. Good luck in the next chapter of your Army career. Do great things. Pay attention. Stay the course. Don't do anything stupid. And get that W. So Leonardo says he uses the uniform just for YouTube. He's not recruiting, so he can't be an official uniform, my understanding. Correct. Because my YouTube channel is monetized, as you can clearly see. I cannot be in an official capacity. I cannot actively recruit. I can't use my official rank and position to leverage leads or recruitment, basically. And yeah, so it cannot be professional in any way. So, which is why I have a verbal, written, and visual disclaimer that it's not DoD, Department of Defense, Army, National Guard, or government entity sponsored or supported or all that stuff. So, yeah. So now you know. All right, so the homie CJ says, I went to the U.S. Army recruiter and showed him my IEP. I have a learning disability, and he told me they won't accept me. He hadn't even tried. Find yourself a new recruiter. But there's more to it than just the IEP, all right? So whether you're autistic or not, I talk about everything that you're going to need for an IEP type waiver. So if you haven't seen my autism waiver video, go check that out. And see if there's anything that I mentioned in the video that you are missing, and go back to that recruiter and be like, I know it can happen. This recruiter has done it, and I would like you to do it anyway. And if they decide not to, let me know. I have multiple friends now that are active duty recruiters and other branches, honestly, that are more than welcome or more than happy to facilitate helping you out if you have everything you need and they could do it remotely from another state. So let me know. I have active duty recruiters all over the place. So here's my email, the homie CJ. If you want to reach out to me, I'll help you with another active duty recruiter. Because I am part of what I refer to as the elite group of recruiters on this support page, on this ASVAB support page on Facebook. But anyhow, oh, we got another, hang on. All right, Caesar Silva, I'm going to come back to you because I just got I realized I got another super chat coming in from Kool-Aid Man Kill. Says, fun story. I was going to your office a few months ago, but you weren't there, so I grabbed a business card from the security desk instead. Romero recruited me. Motherflower. Romero is awesome. She's a sweetheart. Hopefully she's a good recruiter towards you. But yeah, she's great. I love Romero. She actually got transferred to another team about a year ago. Good stuff. And thank you for supporting the channel. Appreciate you. Are you part of the prison mission right now, Kool-Aid? Oh, no, you probably didn't even leave for basic training yet. All right, Caesar, is it possible to reclass once once in an what does that mean, in an MOS contract? Is it possible to reclass once in an MOS contract? Are you asking like you just joined and you no longer want that MOS and you want to change it before you go off to basic training and AIT? Let me know. Kool-Aid says, you were this close to being my recruiter, and I want you, I went to your office next to the college. It was last year. Gotcha. Understood. I got it now. Yeah, good stuff. So I wouldn't say that you regret going through her, because I'm pretty sure she's an awesome recruiter. But do you wish that I was your recruiter? Hashtag I'm just saying. Almost had him. All right, so hang on. Okay. All right, Apple Boy says to Caesar, yes, but you have to be 18 months from your end of your contract or fail your AIT first. All right, that is horrible advice, Apple Boy. That is horrible advice. Why would you tell someone to fail out of AIT so that they can go to another branch of service? The only way they're going to reclass is at the end of their current contract. All right, so if you do fail AIT though, just hypothetically, like, don't aim for this. That's not the right thing to do, because, or for a couple of reasons. One reason is you shouldn't do that. You should follow through, commit, and finish that MOS, and at the end of your contract, change your MOS. But hypothetically, if you were to academically fail out of your current AIT and you want to remain in the military, they will reclass you to an MOS based on the needs of the branch of service that you're in. So in this example, the Army, they're going to figure out what you're qualified for and what the needs are to the Army, and you're not going to have any say-so on what new MOS you're going to send you to. So sometimes the grass is not greener on the other side, and we shouldn't have people like Apple Boy giving out bad advice without understanding the consequences to that decision. Now, I'm pretty sure there are onesies and twosies who might have some sort of say-so that may line up with the needs of the Army at that time, and they did get what they wanted. But in general, that is not good advice to give somebody without more context. Bad juju. Bad juju. All right. So Leonardo says I was the last person. I don't even know what that means anymore. I apologize. Angel, hang on 1 second. So Kool-Aid says, so you got me all the info from your lives, but she got me in. But don't get me wrong, your lives are super helpful. It was what got me in. That's what I'm talking about. See, these are the contracts that happen that I don't get credit for. Ain't that something? But hopefully, yeah, you didn't even answer me. Are you in the prison mission? Are you holding up all right? You doing okay? All right, so Angel Manuel says, Lewis, do I still have to retake the ASVAB if I'm prior service? Multiple recruiters are telling me I have to because the scores are low, and I don't mind the same MOS I had before. I have a score of an AFQT 19. What was your MOS before, Angel? Oh, you're not part of the mission? Oh, I see what you're saying. Gotcha. Oh, gotcha, Leonardo. Thanks for the heads up. Angel, if you're still here, please let me know what your MOS was before. And in fact, I think you're the same person that commented underneath the photo I posted to advertise my live stream on the ASVAB help page. And the same comment that I told you on there is that regardless of your 19 AFQT score from when you originally joined last time as a prior service individual as a traditional Cat 4 enlistee, if you have qualifying line scores, then you don't have to retake the test. But based on what you're telling me is if your line scores are extremely low and they don't have an opening for the MOSs that you do qualify for, they're asking you to retake the test. So here's the good news. All right. So this is one thing I didn't add underneath the photo because I just thought about it now because I was responding to you quickly as I was wolfing down my dinner so I can come here to the live stream. Is as a prior service individual, meaning that prior service that you've got at least MOS qualified into your first unit of assignment, that would make you prior service and all that good stuff. But as a prior service individual, you do not have to pass the ASVAB moving forward. So if you do take the test, it doesn't matter if you go in there and you score a 10. What does matter is that your line scores qualify for an MOS. So you can allow that pressure to roll off your shoulder right now because you don't have to pass the test as a prior service individual. And I'm sorry to hear, or I'm assuming that I'm sorry to hear that your recruiter is not expressing this to you. So when you retake the ASVAB, the AFQT score doesn't matter as a prior service individual. That's only for initial enlistment only. When you go to retest later on, you just need the line score for the jobs that you want. So what I would recommend is if you do want to retest, chances are with your experience while being in service previously, you've done things inside and out of your MOS. You've been exposed to other skill sets that you did not have probably at the time that you contracted. And where I'm going with this is because you were exposed to those additional experiences and training, and you've picked up skills over the years. So it's in my opinion that your line scores will increase and you will qualify for more jobs. And I'm telling you right now, you don't have to feel pressure. You don't have to feel nervous about failing the test. You can get a 10 and it won't matter. As long as your line scores qualify for you for an MOS, you're good to go. So hopefully that makes sense. Gamer Dad Season, I'm going to come back to you. All right. Because I got a couple more super chats, it looks like. Holy smack. Jeez, I haven't got one of these in a long time. It's Jay's Plays. What's up, man? All right. MVP of the night. All right. So, man, guy, that's freaking awesome. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. It's definitely going to help out my family. And, oh, you're saying ignore my other comments, but people are telling me I'm screwed. If I go to basic training and I still have a warts and they find it at reception, which has freaked me out because it took me 4 years to get approved. And should I let my recruiter know about it right now? No. I'm telling you, your plantar's wart is not going to prevent you from going to basic training. If it, all right, is it just one lousy plantar's wart? Hang on, when are you going to basic training again? I'm scrolling up to see if I can find it, unless you respond faster before I can find it. $50. That's dope. That's huge. We're really gonna appreciate that. August 4, and yes, seems just one. All right, perfect. So honestly, like I said, one plantar's wart is not going to prevent you from going to basic training. So whoever you're talking to does not know what they're talking about. The only thing they're concerned about your feet when you go through reception is, do you have flat feet? They're not saying, let me see the bottom of your feet. That's it. They'll do a visual from when you're standing there, but they're just checking for flat feet because they're going to assign you different running shoes on whether or not you have a flat foot, a normal arch, or a high arch foot style. All right. Or footprint rather. And that's all they're looking for. But do your due diligence. Go to the pharmacy tomorrow. Get yourself an over-the-counter plantar's wart thing that you squeeze on it, and it like freezes it and kills it, and it will get rid of it in about a week or less, give or take. I only know this because I've had one. All right. And unfortunately, mine was on the heel. So every time I stepped on like a pebble, or even just like the style of the shower mat that I had in the shower, it was excruciating pain. But yeah, try to get rid of that as best as you can. All right. But you have nothing to worry about. You're not going to get sent home because of a plantar's wart. You're good. Trust me, you're good. Just ignore the noise. Ignore the naysayers out there instilling fear in your head. All right. And again, I appreciate you. Thank you. Kool-Aid again, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Should do a video about the off-peak bonus. They gave 3 dates to go to basic, and only when I asked if there was a bonus for the earliest date, they gave me one. Oh, gotcha. Also, no hate from Romero. She was great with me if she was listening. Sometimes she tunes in, sometimes she doesn't. She was actually in one of my day in the life of the RSP drill. Yeah, she falls down in the video. In fact, I think she might even be, if you go back further in my channel, her photo or screen grab is the thumbnail of the video. And it's in the opening scene of the video if you want to check it out. If you're curious and you want to laugh at her falling down when she was a recruit at our recruit sustainment program. But yeah, I could definitely do a video. I'll add that to my list. And the video would have to be sharing for someone like you to ask about those types of things, because I mean, yeah, I mean, they should have offered it or let you know that if you left earlier, you would get it. But normally your recruiter would tell you stuff like that. Gotcha. Got another super chat, I think, was what I think the intent was. But thank you so much for supporting the channel and for helping out my mother and her family at this time. Thank you very much. I'm going to try to pay attention to see if you post a comment below, if you had attempted to post a comment with that. Oh, yeah, you did. All right, perfect. So Bobby says, I'm at my first duty station. I watched your videos 2 years back. Glad to see you're still helping people. Yeah, man. I love this. You know what's funny? I can literally retire at any moment right now from active duty and the Guard. And I wish I could. It's just I'm really trying to figure out how I can do this full time and make as much as I am right now. And that's the task at hand, is trying to figure out how to make this work. So I want to be a full-time YouTuber and do like contracting work with the government in teaching recruiters how to do exactly what it is I'm doing here with just their cell phone, without all these bells and whistles. But yes, I appreciate you for being around for a couple of years, watching my channel. Thank you very much for supporting it, obviously, and for my family. And yeah, I'm just glad you're still tuning in. That's awesome. What would you recommend that I add to the channel to help out people like you in the unit as a regular service member? Let me know what your thoughts are. And again, I appreciate you. Thank you. As I'm scrolling up to see where I last left off, like this video if you don't mind. All right, so Gamer Dad Season says 32. I think you meant 32 folks in. Oh, okay. 32 people in the chat and only 14 likes. Let's go. Show some love. He's dropping gems here. That's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah. Now we're up to 40. It looks like. It's good stuff. Appreciate that. Appreciate you, Caesar and Dustin. Thank you so much. My mother was only like 62 years old when she passed with brain cancer. Angel says, Lewis, do you still have to retake the ASVAB if in prior service multiple? Oh, you already talked about that. Ryan A, I'll come back to you. We just got another super chat coming in from, don't give me your whole paycheck, bro. Oh man, it's Jace. You are something else, man. I'm just waiting for it to populate in my chat box here. And again, thank you so much. Jace says, I wish your family the best. Your mom, or I wish your family the best. You're in my prayers. And last question, can I wear a personal ACUs? No, yeah, ACUs I bought for RSP. I have the tapes and flag, and they were not issued for RSP because I want to fit the role. You want to wear them at drill, or do you want to wear them like at basic training? So because you signed a contract, which makes you a soldier, as long as you are wearing the uniform in accordance with regulation, which is AR 670-1, then you can wear your uniform at RSP with the appropriate haircut and being clean shaven if you're a male. And if you said yes for drill, then yes. Like I said, as long as you are in accordance with regulation and the wear and appearance of the uniform, you can definitely wear your uniform. Absolutely. All right. And you didn't have to super chat that for me, but I appreciate it. Thank you. You've already done a lot. Amazing. Last time I checked, I think we were doing really, really good on the GoFundMe. I think it was around, so far I think I raised just over $2,100 for my family. All right, so Ryan, how will Genesis affect new applicants? Pass the ASVAB, but going back for the physical soon. So Genesis doesn't necessarily impact people, but it does hold people accountable to their medical history, if that makes sense. So Genesis is just the military's way of catching up to society, because everyone else has already, if not already has, is moving towards an electronic medical reporting system to where they streamline the process of scheduling appointments, getting direct access to your medical records. So instead of having to go to the records department of the doctor's office or the medical facility, all of this is going to be uploaded into your MyChart. So this is their Army's version of that. Now, in the beginning, I'm not going to lie, it was rough, but I think things are evening out, if that makes sense. And again, as previously described earlier in the stream, I feel like in the beginning, Genesis stopped a lot of people joining because the military had a false sense of the quality of applicants joining. And this exposed that and forced Department of Defense to reassess medical conditions and to loosen the restrictions. And they have been doing so gradually, making things more and more easier and accepting a lot more of things that would previously permanently disqualify you, no waivers authorized in the past. So I think it's a blessing in disguise in most cases. RNM Edit says, been doing the diet and exercise for 4 months, lost 46 pounds. Soon meet weight. That's what I'm talking about. Lifted Line says, what if you don't remember all your medical history and take what you have to MEPS? Will the system find information to disqualify you or still take you, but you have to? All right, so good question. And you can definitely list it, and that would be considered a complex pre-screen. Or you could say there's nothing wrong with you and submit it as a simple pre-screen. But regardless, it's going to be submitted through Genesis. So whatever you submit or don't submit, whatever Genesis sees, it will pop up into the system. So when we submit a pre-screen, we're giving MEPS the heads up that you're coming, and they have a few days to look into Genesis to see if there's any immediate showstoppers where it would prevent you from qualifying to conduct a medical exam. If there's any showstoppers, they'll tell us you can't. Or if there's a potential showstopper and they need more documentation, meaning the clearance letters or whatever, for whatever is in question, then they may request those and then allow you to come to do the medical, as long as it could possibly lead to a medical waiver or whatnot. But whatever comes up, they'll ask you during the medical exam. So let's say you withhold it or forgot something during the medical exam. If it's something that they need to question you about it, they will certainly bring it up on that one-on-one session towards the end of your medical exam with the chief medical officer at MEPS. So you don't have to worry about it. If it's something that they need to talk to you about, they definitely will. Yeti says, what depicts whether a mental health waiver for bipolar gets sent through or not? I don't have a whole lot of experience or information about bipolar specifically. So all my best tips in general for medical waivers are in this video that's coming into the chat box now and linked down below. But with that being said, you would have to be off of medication for a minimum of 3 years and be stable and with no additional issues with your mental health or behavioral health. You're going to need some strong character reference letters showing the total applicant concept, total applicant concept. So we want to see a character reference letter stating that although you are bipolar, you basically act, for lack of a better phrase, well with others in the environments that you're in, despite having that diagnosis in a work environment. So preferably from a supervisor of some sort, from someone from your personal life, maybe somebody from school. Like if you went to college or high school and you had this diagnosis, that way they could see what people say about when you're on the job, when you were in school, and in your personal life. And maybe even, and like in your personal life, it could be like your pastor, somebody from church, some group that you're a part of, in sports or something that you're in that's outside of school. Things of that nature, if that makes sense. But the video will make more sense. Well, we just want to know, can you be immersed into an austere environment that's under a lot of stress? Because this can be a highly stressful position. And the last thing we need is to agitate these types of conditions and set yourself up for failure. or worse. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Angel says, Lewis, do you still have to retake? Oh, yeah, talked about that. Robert Z says, hashtag Team Swartz, appreciate you. State approved my conditional release to go from National Guard to active, just waiting to go to MEPS and do my physical according to the recruiter. They are not doing the med pros anymore. That's news to me. I might call cap on that. I'll have to look into the SMOM, but Robert, if you're still here in the stream, let me know which state you got the authorization to go active duty. And I'm going to take a photo of this because on the ASVAB support page, active duty recruiters like to talk smack about the National Guard. And they basically claim that that the conditional releases don't get approved. And this is living proof that it does. And by any chance, did you follow the tips in my video, or you just submitted it on your own and you're just informing me of it? Just want to know if my video helped you out is all. That's why I'm asking. But with that being said, Lavin Johnson says, just got with my recruiter today again, and I go to basic next week. Most likely the off. What? Hang on. Just got with my recruiter today again, and I go to basic next week, most likely. Then off to the 09 Mike program. Can you explain the 09 Mike program more? I have a whole dedicated video to this. Hang on one second. Here we go. 09 Mike video. So I don't know if you're going for the body fat composition and or the academic improvement for the ASVAB score. Either way, you can combine both of them now, and the body fat percentage that is allowed in that program has been increased to 8%, and you will be treated like you're in basic training. Aside from those updates, everything else will be explained to what you're doing day to day, what your schedule looks like, some insights and tips and tricks to that whole process, and good luck. Make the best of it. You'll be great. Sideways, thank you for letting me know. So just to confirm, because I wasn't paying attention until I just saw it now, let me know if you hear the air horn. So let me know if you hear it, and I'm gonna pay attention. But thank you for letting me know. Appreciate that. JG says, do you know any reliable recruiters here in Arizona for the Guard? I did. I could look and see. Yes, we do. Perfect. Thank you so much, Anakin, and welcome to the stream. I do. So if you want to hit me up, here's my email and my Instagram. If you want to shoot me a direct message, which is my preferred method to reach out to me, is through my Instagram. Just because the notifications, I have OCD. So just so you're tracking, like if you direct message me, I answer every single one of my DMs. And if I don't get to you within a day or two, just know that I see the notification and it's bothering me because I want to open it. But if it takes me more than a day or two to respond or to open it and respond, then I will open it and let you know that I see it, to acknowledge you, to let you know that I'm not just ghosting you, and to let you know that I will respond as soon as possible. But I respond to every single one of my direct messages. I don't know how much longer I can handle that, but I do. And I will definitely get you the information that you seek. Ryan A, if you do email me, it does get lost in the sauce. So that's why I prefer Instagram. It's all central in one location. I don't have to sift through hundreds of emails to find it. But with that being said, Ryan A says, if I have two last names that are both long, no hyphen, which ones are going on my name tape? They'll probably choose one or the other that does not exceed the amount of characters that are in accordance with the Army regulation to the name tape. Sometimes they'll ask you which name you want, but that usually gets determined from the basic training site, honestly. But it'll be one unless you mandate them, or not mandate, but encourage them to put both names on there. But it doesn't look good when you have two long last names on there. Dreas Cornelius says, should I try the Navy if my mental health waiver is denied by the Army? Yeah. So if you've watched my medical guide with the insights, tips, and tricks, and all that good stuff, yes, if one branch of service denies your waiver, then yes, absolutely go try another branch of service. Be like Pokemon, got to collect them all. So go into order of preference to all the different branches of service that you're interested in possibly joining, if that makes sense. Some T says, I am sorry for your loss. What are the requirements to become an officer in the Army National Guard? The requirements are, for the most part, the same as any other branch of service. We do allow a higher age bracket, and because of our traditional state OCS program, you could do OCS with a minimum of 90 college credits in college currently with a degree plan in place with a projected graduation date. But the video will go over in detail. I just dropped it into the chat box, and there's also a link down below if you want to check that out. I am also sorry for, says no, I am sorry for, I saw on the National Guard website that it requires a minimum 9 for the accredited degree in bachelor. Yes, you do need a 4-year degree, U.S. citizen, GT line score of 110 or better, and qualify for a secret clearance. Those are the basic eligibility requirements for OCS, and you're very welcome. Saber Abudu says, how long does it take to get promotion for soldier referrals? So my understanding is they will process it once they ship out to basic training. So it's not from the date of contract, it's from the date they ship from basic training. And I do see some of them getting processed within 60 days after they ship, some of them taking up to 6 months. My thing is, if you refer somebody, make sure that the person that you're referring to a recruiter on the day that they're contracted, verify that they in fact put your name in the system, 1, and 2, what we do in the National Guard to make sure that you have, what is it called? Like proof, is that on the DD form 1966, we'll add your name or referred by rank, name, and unit you belong to in the 1966. So if there's any question in the future to whether or not you in fact were referred by somebody, their information is in that soldier's 1966, the day that they signed their contract. Smart program was a scam. What do you mean? You talking about the 09 Mike program is a scam? Let me know, JG. Elaborate, please. Some T says, I saw in the National Guard. Oh, yeah, I already talked about that. M1 Garrison says, if I decided to do a 3-year contract with the National Guard, when do I start serving those 3 years? Once you go to basic training, or does basic training AIT time take time off of the 3 years? All right. So when you go Army National Guard, the date you sign your contract is the effective start date to your 3-year contract. Army Reserve, as long as they put you in paid status on the day of contracting or within a couple of days of you signing your contract, same thing applies. If you're going active duty, meaning full-time in any branch of the service, your contract doesn't start until the day you ship out to basic training, with one exception. With the Army, they offer a 2-year contract option, but that 2-year contract, it doesn't begin until you're at your unit of assignment after you get MOS qualified, meaning job qualified. Okay. Some T says, however, some people have told me that you need to have a bachelor's degree. So if you want to do federal OCS, you do need a 4-year degree. If you go in National Guard, you can do it with a 4-year degree or at least 90 college credits, semester credit hours. Kool-Aid. Oh, yeah, I already spoke about that. Already talked about that. Kool-Aid says, yes, because I saw your video. Yep. Kool-Aid, do you want Kool-Aid, just grab front desk. Leonardo says ignore LOL. Oh, you talk about that. Also, I hate the. Mendy Bolin says, I'm enlisting with the Air National Guard. My first recruiter said they're burnt out. So I switched to another. The original got mad and won't let me work with someone else. Past ASVAB pre-MEPS. So tell the first recruiter, if you don't process me, then I will get your superiors involved and I will find a recruiter that will process me. But you got to understand that the Army is one of the largest branches with the most amount of recruiters. Air Force and Air Guard recruiters are far few in between. So it's like 50 to 1, 50 Army recruiters to 1 Air National Guard recruiter. So they're very, very small. I think like in the state of New York, I think they're at like a couple of thousand in strength. And the Army National Guard in New York has over 11,000, almost 12,000 soldiers. So the force is a lot smaller. So they have very few recruiters. So just keep that in mind. Give them a little grace. But whenever going through an Air Force or Air Guard recruiter, you have to exercise patience because they don't have as many recruiters. And that's probably why he's burnt out. Back in the day, before the recruiting crisis and before COVID, I didn't call them recruiters. I would call them processors because all they did was just sit in the office and just process people. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, good luck to you. If you want to go Army, I'll find somebody in your state and make it happen for you. And you don't have to wait. That's how I get my enlistments from the Air Guard. Question from Quentin says, can non-active military people salute to military people or to the flag in support? Yes, you absolutely can. Absolutely. Jay says August 4th. And yes, it seems like just 1 ton of people on Reddit. Oh. Be careful with Reddit. Be careful with Reddit. We got a bunch of has-beens, wannabes, people that are not qualified in recruiting, talking about what they think they know, what they think they heard. They know a friend of a friend that knew something. So that's why steer clear of Reddit. All right. Just my 2 cents. JG says, I have a 60 with a GT score of 97. So recommended retesting before getting to increase the GC score when I'm in. Goal is to go SF, but reclass into 11 Bravo here in Arizona before. Okay, I got you. Good plan. Good plan. I will look for it now. I have formation 1830. Something at 99% of people took the earliest date and didn't get it. You must ask for the bonus. Interesting. Bobby says, I'm at the first duty station. I watched your videos 2 years back. Glad to see you're still. Oh, yeah, we already talked about that. Isaiah says, wake him up, Joe. That's what I'm talking about. Funny secret, weapons free. Don't follow. Sorry. Kool-Aid says, question of the $1 million blues or green for graduation uniform. I say blues. No, I know. I understand what you meant. And it's pinks and greens now. The new uniform, not the blues. You won't get the blues anymore. Those are going to be phased out soon or shortly. Rach says, I met with my recruiter on Monday and told him I was on Zoloft. He said it would be a problem and I would have to be off for 6 months and get a doctor's note to be cleared. Yes, that is absolutely right. Is Zoloft for anxiety or for depression? Which one? Let me know. Thank you, Ryan A. I appreciate you. Thank you. 34 years old. Joseph saying, trying to go apply for federal CS with age waiver for National Guard. How hard will it be? OCS, as long as you get the age waiver for enlistment, then You should be fine because I believe you have to commission by 42 or 44 years old. You have to be appointed by 42, 44, whatever my video says. So if you're still here, check out this OCS video. I talk about the requirements for state OCS. But for federal, there are no waivers authorized. They won't do it. 32, I believe, is the age cutoff for federal. But if you go National Guard, you can get commissioned. But if you want to go reserve or active, dude, hang on. Sorry. I should read that slower. All right. 34 years old, trying to go federal OCS with an age waiver for the National Guard. How hard would that be? So you're not going to be able to do federal OCS. You could join the National Guard and do state OCS and do the accelerated program, but you're not going to be able to do federal OCS. All right, so I was kind of in the right track. I just jumped the gun a little too fast. Gamer says, and can I bring my own running shoes for PT? My feet are picky. If it's for RSP drill, yes. And if you're going to basic training, I do recommend that you do bring them, but you won't be able to use them until AIT unless your drill sergeants during basic training give you the authorization to do that. Kahi B says, 17-year-old son is going to basic in 1 month before me. I'm 40. Is there a way I can take leave to attend his graduation? Unfortunately, no. But that's friggin' awesome. A duo, a father and son duo. That's what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, you won't be able to go if you're in basic training. Bobby says, I would say learning your job is very important, but don't forget you are a soldier first. A lot of guys complain about things that don't revolve around their MOS. I hear that. Brothers from Anakin, what's up? What's up? Roger Smith says, do you know anything about 35 Tango? I do not, unfortunately. And what I do know would be exactly what you're going to do, which is Google it, YouTube search it, and use AI to figure it out. But yeah, I wish I had more information than that. Luis Martinez says, I was diagnosed with lupus and have osteopenia. Will that disqualify me from joining the Army National Guard? It's definitely going to disqualify you. And you're probably, so lupus, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's an autoimmune disease. Not going to be waiverable, unfortunately. And osteopenia, I looked it up the other day, but I forgot what it is. But unfortunately, that's going to permanently disqualify you. No waivers authorized. Sorry. That sucks. Ernst Adrian says, please, I would like to know more about 42 Alpha MOS. You drink a lot of coffee. You do a lot of paperwork. You do get an occasional paper cut. It's more of a 9-to-5 type of job. And depending on what unit you're in, you don't do a whole lot of field training. But it's a great MOS. It translates very well to the civilian sector. And I happen to like that MOS because I'm qualified in that MOS. So I think that you might like it if you like paperwork. So 4K Alex says, got my waiver denied and I appealed it, but I'm going to try a different branch. Absolutely. If it gets denied again, definitely try another branch of service. A Natkin Skywalker says, Swartz, would you do a reaction on stream? Maybe reacting to basic training would help viewership. Every stream I'm in is more and more people. Keep the grind. Hashtag Team Swartz. I appreciate it. I'm not sure what we're at right now on the stream. Looks like 56. So far, it seems that I've peaked at 69 specifically for the past few live streams that I've done. My goal is to break 100 by the end of this year per stream. But for some reason, people don't tune in. I don't get it. But anywho, what would you... So you want me to react to watching basic training videos to like the Army and like the Marine Corps and stuff like that? Okay. I could try it. See what happens. Gage Trent, I'm about to apply for OCS and wondering how basic training OCS pipeline works. So you'll do basic training and then go, if it's not back to back, then at some point after you complete basic training, then you do your OCS. And if you don't do back to back BOLIC training, then within a year, year and a half of you completing OCS, you have to complete BOLIC, which is your basic officer leadership course. So it could be all back to back or it could be spread out a little bit, but you got to get qualified within 24 months. What should I focus on before AIT? Graduating Army basic training. That's exactly the only thing that I want you to focus on. Just graduate from basic training. Don't worry about AIT. Just focus on basic training. Learning the basics, the rice and beans to transitioning from a civilian to a soldier. Okay. AIT, take it seriously. Depending on what MOS you have, pay attention in class, take notes, rewrite your notes in the evening. Maybe be on the phone for maybe 30 minutes with friends and family, and then reread your notes and get ready for bed. When lights is out, go to sleep. Don't doom scroll all night on your phone. Just go to sleep and repeat that on a daily basis, and then you should be fine. Robert Z says, my release is from Texas, and I followed your videos to get me where I am at today. Your videos are very helpful. I appreciate that. Thank you. Texas, that's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah. Gage Trent says, for OCS, how important is GPA, major or the applicant versus strong work history, letters, recommendation, and physical fitness? The average GPA was 3.36 for applicants, and I am only at 3.0. All right, so if you're going National Guard, none of that matters. You just need to have a degree or 90 college credits or whatever. But if you're going regular Army or Army Reserve, 3.36 or 3.0 is definitely going to be on the lower end of the spectrum, not very competitive, and probably not going to be favored at all during the board, unfortunately. But obviously, character reference letters are important. Physical fitness test obviously is going to be a big thing, but yeah, they typically want you to be, from my understanding with all my active duty friends that I talk to that recruit, they always tell me that a GPA of a 3.8 or higher is what they're looking for. Anything below that, you're pretty much probably going to get the axe, according to him. But you can try. But the workaround is go National Guard, get commissioned, and then work on possibly getting a release to go active duty if you're trying to go active. But if you're going reserve, I say go Guard over reserve any day. Sorry, this is the question that I was supposed to have highlighted on the screen, but yeah. Gage, you're very welcome. JG, I don't know if did you ever respond to me about the what you meant by the scam? No, I guess not. What did you mean by the SMART program was a scam? I don't understand that. I don't follow. If you could break that down for me, that'd be great. Ooh, we got a channel member in the house tonight. We got Flynn Vassent says, I am asking out of curiosity, probably not going to shoot for an officer position. However, do you have to be an NCO to be a candidate for OCS and also have at least 4-year degree in some? So you do not have to be a non-commissioned officer. You could literally come from the streets as a non-prior service member, meaning you've never served a day in your life, with a 4-year degree and join and become a commissioned officer. Or you could be in the Army as long as you got a recommendation letter from an officer, which is typically going to be your company commander. You can put in for your OCS packet. But yes, you do need a 4-year degree at that point. So if you're in service and you try to go into OCS, it doesn't matter if you're a private first class, a private specialist, or a sergeant. As long as you have a 4-year degree, GT line score of 110 or better, U.S. citizen, qualified for a secret clearance, and you can get recommended by an officer, then you can go OCS. Kathy Miranda says, can you still join the Army Reserve after scoring a 24 on the PICAT test? And is it true that the Army Reserve are not open all the time? Okay, I know what you're asking. So you're asking about the traditional Cat 4 program scoring between a 16 and a 30. And because of the 09 Mike program being offered between 21 and a 30, Occasionally, once in a blue moon, we will offer Cat 4 option of a 16 to a 21 through the hang on. You scored a 24, so you can go 09 Mike. Oh, so yeah, so when you're going regular Army or Army Reserve, and I could ask I can confirm with my regular Army recruiters, but I'm pretty confident that the last time I asked them this question, for every one person that they have that passed the test or score over a 50 on the ASVAB, they could put somebody into the 09 Mike program. Okay. But if you go National Guard, we don't have that restriction. So I'm going to put a Guard versus Reserve video. I want you to watch it. It's 52 minutes long. It'll tell you the pros, cons, similarities, and differences between the Guard and Reserve. And especially if you're going for education like college, the National Guard is the only time I would ever tell you to go into the Guard versus the Army Reserve. And there's nothing wrong with the Army Reserve. It is a great option if that's what you choose. It's just that the National Guard would be the better fit if college is important to you in maximizing the monetary gains to pay for college, if that makes sense. But to each its own. But again, if you go Guard, there's no restriction to the 09 Mike program is what you're referring to by scoring a 21 or better. But you do have to verify that PICAT score. So you got to go to MEPS and take the PICAT verification test. All right. But if you got any other questions, you can always DM me, direct message me on Instagram, and I'll help you from there. And when you leave for basic training, then to AIT, when do you come back home so you can pack up your stuff and go to your duty station? After you graduate from AIT, and depending on your unit, hang on, Michael Bryant, I will be right there. I don't know how I almost missed that, but one of two ways. It will happen before you get to your duty station, or usually in most cases, you'll get to your first duty station while in processing. You'll be briefed on the unit's SOP, standard operating procedures for leave policies and stuff like that. And they'll put you in for permissive TDY, where you will get up to 10 days free to go back home, pack up, and move your goods and your family. And that's if you're married. And they'll tell you the 3 different ways that you can transport your family's goods and your family to your duty station. Some are more complicated than others, but yeah, so that will be established once you get to your unit of assignment in most cases. Ryan A, I'm going to come back to you, all right? Got our super chat coming in from Michael Bryant. Thank you so much for supporting my mother and my channel. Says hashtag TEAM SWARTZ. Do they sell boots and shoes insoles at the PX in basic training, or should I take my own? Thanks in advance. A few weeks until I leave. So, Michael, let me know in the chat box if you have specifically or prescribed shoe inserts or insoles because of your flat feet or whatever the case may be. If you do, I highly recommend that you bring those. They do have insoles that you could purchase at the PX, but if you have some, I would just say buy them and cut them to your shoes and put them in your current sneakers. And then when you get to reception and you get your issued stuff, then just transfer it over from your current shoes to one of those, if that makes sense. JG says, I did all the work and a recruiter got all the credit, and so did the sergeant major. Oh, hang on. That might make sense now. I still don't understand how that relates to the SMART program. Yeah, I'm still lost in the sauce, JG. I have no clue what you're talking about. My bad, your fault. Demolo, hashtag Swartz from PR fan. That's what I'm talking about. Any tips for MEPS medical? Yes, watch this video about the day in MEPS. And for all my Puerto Rico friends and anybody else who is Spanish, over the next couple of months, YouTube will be rolling out a feature where it will, what do they call it? Auto tune, auto dub my voice in Spanish in my video. You'll be able to watch my videos of me speaking in English, but it will be in Spanish, if that makes sense. So Jonathan Hernandez, I appreciate you watching all the way from Puerto Rico. Much love. Appreciate you. Thank you. And so watch that. And if for some reason, I didn't even put it in the chat box. So watch the day at MEPS so you know what to expect. I give tips and tricks to how to pass certain things during the medical exam in that video. And if for some reason you do need a medical waiver, then you might want to watch that video right there. But just remember, MEPS are not your friends. And Nakin says, there's a lot of videos on basic training on YouTube. Maybe a reaction on stream one day would be dope. Yeah, we spoke about that. Ryan A says, I'm going AR Army Reserve, but should I switch to National Guard because the education is one of my main? Yes, absolutely. I just said that not too long ago. I don't know if you were here, but I'll post a video to why, okay? So when you talk to your Army Reserve recruiter and you tell them that you're contemplating on going to the National Guard for education, and this is what, pardon my French, pisses me off about active duty recruiters and reserve recruiters, is they're going to lie to you and tell you, or I don't know if it's due to ignorance or just toxic recruiting tactics, or they just don't care, but they're going to say stuff like, oh, well, their benefits are strictly state. You're better off going reserve because of assistance. You don't have to worry about funding and yada, yada, yada. So the video will go over it in more detail, but all three components of the Army, whether you're active duty, reserve, or guard, we all have access to the same federal benefits. So in this example, federal tuition of $4.5 thousand. That's $4,500 that you can use from your federal tuition. What makes the Army National Guard more advantageous is, depending on the state that you're in, we could pay an addition, or we could pay up to 100% for your tuition fees. So for example, in New York, our soldiers don't have to pay or use their federal tuition at all because our state tuition covers 100% of all community and state colleges and universities. And they save their federal tuition for their masters. But our regular Army recruiter is going to be like downplaying it and telling you, oh, they don't have the money, they run out, blah, blah, blah. So for those recruiters, if they watch this video, you can watch this, breaking down the National Guard myths, educating USADSA recruiters since 2004 when I became a recruiter. But anyway, I digress. But definitely check out that video, and I encourage you to go check out the Army National Guard over the Army Reserve when it comes to college money. All right, that's the only time I will ever tell you that the National Guard is better. Now, once you get your degree and you've used and abused the National Guard and you feel that National Guard would be a better fit for you, by all means, do you, boo-boo. But the National Guard should be your main focus when college is important to you. All right, so Martel Allen, how often do neck tattoos go through? That's what I'm waiting on right now for the whole side of my neck, though. It really depends on the leadership of the chain of command that it's going through, but typically under 45 days, usually. Corrupted said that I skipped a whole bunch of people. Did I really? You're right. I think I did. Yeah, you're right. Thank you for pointing that out to me. Hang on. Okay, so I think I left off here. Ryan A, right? At what point are you considered in the military when you sign a contract or after AIT? Was that where I last left off before I skipped a whole bunch of people? Please let me know if you're still here. All right, perfect. At what point are you considered in the military when you sign a contract or after AIT? So if you're National Guard Reserve, the day you sign your contract, as long as you're in paid status for the reserve, definitely for the National Guard. If you die that day that you signed your contract and you're in paid status, regardless of you completing basic training or not, for all intents and purposes, you are a soldier in the United States Army on paper. And if you die, your beneficiaries for your life insurance will pay up to $500,000. Those of you who are joining regular Army or active duty in any branch of the service, your contract doesn't start until the day you ship out to basic training and you redo your oath of enlistment. And then that's when you're in the military or contracted, basically, if that makes sense. All right. Flynn says, Kathy, I don't think, oh, it's not for me, but Kathy, I don't think. Jose Lopez says, what are the chances of doing 20 years at the age of 31 and going in as infantry? Sorry, I was hearing something. I mean, you're an older fella, so if you want to do infantry and have fun, I would do it for a contract or two. But then, due to your age and the wear and tear of doing that MOS, I would definitely recommend switching to a less physically demanding job for your joints and your back. They will thank you later. But with that being said, you could definitely do 20 years at 31 for sure. All right, and definitely encourage you to do that if that's what you want to do. But I wouldn't stay in your infantry contract for more than a contract or two. But people do stay. It's just up to you. There are some videos on reception. Would be cool for you to go through. Oh, yeah, I talked about that. Can I have a trustworthy recruiter in California? Yeah, absolutely. Hit me up. Enyo says, how fast is the Army processing waivers? They're pretty quick these days. How fast are people shipping out to ARMS 2.0? You mean 2.1 for the 09 mic program? Well, it doesn't matter if you're 2.0 or 2.1. It's the next available ship date. So it really depends on availability. Some are leaving right away. Some are leaving several months from now. It really just depends on availability, honestly. And it was for depression. Oh, so Rach. Sorry, I'm scrolling back up to see your original contract or comment rather. Sorry, Rach. I don't know if I missed it or what, but I went all the way back to the beginning. I didn't see your comment. I apologize, Rach. Mendy, give me 1 second. I see you. Sorry, Rach. If you direct message me on Instagram, I got you if you're still here. Vasquez sounds familiar, but I'm not really sure. All right, Roger Smith, I'm going to come back to you because I had a couple of super chats. One coming in from Mendy Bolin. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. ADHD diagnosis was removed. I've been off meds for 6 months. Air Force says 12 months. Our waivers case by case and can work success and strong character reference letters. Get me one earlier. It really depends on the branch of service. For the Army, if I'm not mistaken, they had recently reduced it to 6 months being off meds and being stable. And again, it all boils down to your diagnosis, the severity, and the details, and all that good stuff. But Air Force is, like you said, 12. I believe the Army is at 6 months last time I checked. But if you direct message me on Instagram, I can definitely confirm or deny that sometime tomorrow. All right. Appreciate you, though. And thank you for supporting my channel and my family. YF says, when do soldiers get the pinks and greens? At reception when you get to the basic training site. No one 108R says, I have attempted suicide in my medical record when I was in the Marine Corps 1 year ago. Can I still join the Army? Unfortunately, you're going to have to wait until 2 years for administrative reasons based on your discharge, but the MEPS is going to make you wait 3 years of stability prior to allowing you to go back to MEPS and redo your medical exam and attempt a medical waiver. And you're going to want to follow these tips in this medical waiver guide right here. And thank you so much for supporting the channel, of course. And Roger Smith, do you know anything about 35 Tango? I do not, but if you Google it, YouTube, research it, or use ChatGPT, I'm pretty sure you could find a decent amount of information. Honorable discharge will definitely help you. However, you still need to wait the minimum required time. If you got medically discharged for that, it's going to have an administrative minimum waiting period of 24 months. And MEPS is going to institute a 36-month, 3-year minimum waiting period before you can reapply at MEPS for a medical exam. JG, I'm going to come back to you. I got another super chat coming in from Mendy. Thank you so much again. Is there a way to check my own Genesis profile? If you want to know what's in Genesis, go into your electronic medical records. Whatever shows up in your My Chart is what's going to populate into Genesis. If it does not show up in My Chart, then chances are Genesis is not going to see it. Does that make sense? Scrolling back up to where I last left off. Okay. JG says, is it possible to increase your GT score once you're already in as prior service? Yes. It's called the BSEP course. I forgot what it stands for, but it's a 3-week course that you could do at the Education Center on post. And they will make you redo the whole entire ASVAB test, but they do prepare you for the retest. And most people score relatively higher on their retest, typically getting what they're looking for, as long as you put in the effort and study. And Nakin Skywalker says, can you buy new boots in AIT or Leosa? I think we already talked about this. Okay, maybe not. So you can definitely buy them in AIT as long as they're in accordance with AR670-1. So as long as they're in compliance with regulations, you can definitely wear them at the later part of OSA for sure. Gage Trent says, oh, hang on. I got another super chat. Hold on one second, Gage. I'll be right back. Uno momento, por favor. So Lane Carp says, well, first of all, thank you for supporting the channel and my family in this time. Appreciate it so much. This person ships out in June for infantry. How much running and what type of running should I be doing to get prepared for OSA? All right, so I have a video that I'm going to drop into the chat box. It's also linked down below if you want to check it out. But that's how to prepare for Army basic training. My recommendation to you is to mix it up, because this is pretty much more or less what you're going to be doing in basic training. One day, you're going to test yourself running 2 miles in your shortest time possible. You versus you every week. On another day of the week, you're going to do a fun long distance run at a comfortable pace. Throw on some music, podcast, book, whatever, audio book or something in a safe environment, of course. And you're going to run 3 or 4 miles. And this is, of course, if you have a basic level of fitness. And then on another day, you're going to do what we call in the Army as 30-60s. Okay, 30 seconds. So you do a half a mile or so to warm up. And then you do 30 seconds, like do it maybe twice at like 50 to 60% max effort to warm up your hamstrings. And then on the third or fourth time, and for 10 times thereafter, you're going to do 30 seconds of 100% max effort, 90 to 100% max effort for 30 seconds and walk for 60 seconds and repeat that, like I said, 10 times. That right there is what's going to shorten your run time. All right. And those are my running tips that I share in that video. I do have some programs linked down below in that description area that you can download and check. Again, that's for someone who has a basic level of fitness. But if you're literally going from the couch to doing this, again, I have a beginner program that you can download as well in the description area. Appreciate your support in the channel. Thank you very much. All right, Gage, if you go to basic training as 09 Sierra, do you go to OSA or regular basic training? Does OCS count as AIT or 09 Sierra? All right, so when you're going as a OCS candidate as 09 Sierra, you do not do OSA. You're going to do just the basic training, which is 10 weeks. OSA is not basic training. OSA is basic training and job training looped into one station with the same drill sergeants and the same trainees the entire time, okay? So you're going to do basic training and then you do OCS and then BOLIC. And it could be broken up, but that's your pipeline. Kathy Miranda says, my recruiter said I can sign up on the program to retest to get a higher score on the PICAT. Is that true? No. Your PICAT is tied to your social security number. And it's a one-time test only. So if you're taking the PICAT more than once, your recruiter is fat fingering or using somebody else's social security number, which is not authorized. Your recruiter is not allowed to do that. So the PICAT is a one-time test, and that's it. Okay. Corrupted Redemption says, I mean, these are Business Insider videos. There's Business Insider. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. For the reaction videos, I think is what you're talking about. And Yo says, maybe to get more people on here trying to give, try like giving things. Oh, like a raffle or something? Yeah, I could do something like that. How the transition from active duty to reserve? So if you mean like if you're on active duty, can you transfer to the Army Reserve or the Army National Guard? Yes. Unfortunately, you're going to have to wait until the end of your contract to make that happen. there's no way for you to go active duty, get there and be like, yo, I think I made a mistake. Can I switch over to the Guard Reserve? The answer is going to be hard no. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. You're a no-go at this station, okay? Unfortunately. So Vincent, it could take up to 6 months to get on it, unfortunately. But right now, everybody in the state of New York, there's over 8,000 soldiers that are currently on our prison mission because the corrections officers are on strike. But I think that's wrapping up right about now. But yeah, plan on it taking about 6 months. Agent Allen says, "Hello, I am 29 and unfortunately I have failed MEPS ASVAB. I went back and passed clean. I scored very well. Maybe not. Hang on. So what are you passing and failing? I'm confused now. All right. So he's 29 years old. Unfortunately, have failed MEPS test. What MEPS test? Because now you're saying that you went back and passed and you're clean and you scored very well on the ASVAB, but I'm worried about that I'll be denied entry. Unfortunately, I don't have enough information here to really understand what you're asking, but if you're otherwise eligible, you can join because it says that you failed but then pass. So I'm not sure what the concern is, or maybe I'm just reading it too fast. Maybe rephrase this and let me know. Appreciate it. Thank you. Gamer Dad, I'm gonna come back to you. Got another super chat coming in from Canelo. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Salute. Thank you very much. Gamer says, do you have a video on green to gold? I do not, unfortunately. I will be going in as an E4 specialist, but I want to move up in rank during my first contract. Green to gold is extremely difficult. It's usually reserved more for people that are not commissioned officers, at least a sergeant or staff sergeant with a few years of like stellar annual evaluations. Like you're the cream of the crop kind of guy. And they're not handed out often. So good luck with that. You're better off just submitting a OCS packet and chancing it that way because green to gold is not given out very easily. Zura says, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but I asked you last year about wait times for waivers and all. It turns out I did wait till February and I got a restart in October thanks to your help. Zura, if you're still here, what do you mean by restart? Like you restarted the process to join, or you got approved and you're restarting, like going to basic training, like you're approved to go to basic training? Let me know. Kathy Miranda, I'm going to come right back to you because I got another super sticker, it looks like. Oluwasun Asobgagban. I jacked up your name. I'm so sorry, man. But I appreciate the super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting the channel and more importantly, supporting my mom and her family at this time. Kathy Miranda says, funny thing is, I don't have any social media, but they took my fingerprints last Wednesday and just waiting for a recruiter to get back. I'm 32 and I'm not really worried or looking for any colleges. All right, well, good luck to you. Hopefully they get back to you soon, but good luck to you, all right? JG, what SMART was the Sergeant Major Assistance Recruiting Team program. Oh, okay. I don't know anything about it, so that's news to me. JG says 2K for every soldier. Oh, so that's like Florida's Jeep program. So it's like a recruiting program. Okay, like the old G-Rap. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, it's like the referral bonus program. I got you now. But you're saying that they took credit for your idea of creating it. Is that what you're saying, JG? Henry says, hey, applicant from Colorado Army National Guard, wondering who specifically or what entity processes age waivers at 36 mics, 36 months. I'm not sure what 36. I think you mean like 36 years old. But if you're going National Guard, it's the state's tag, the adjutant general, 2-star general, that approves those waivers. And it really depends on the state. My tag is amazing. A few days to a week for an age waiver. 2 weeks tops because of this whole prison mission that's going on in the state of New York. But Neely Racy says, what's the highest viewers you've held in a live stream? Historically, I think the highest was like 89 or 90 something, maybe 99. I'd have to dig into my analytics. Maybe I could let you know next week. But I was like at the height of my content creation here on YouTube when I was consistently posting a brand new video every single week and religiously live streaming 2 hours a week. That was when I was a lot more consistent. But I've been inconsistent or lacking any type of consistency with the pre-recorded videos. But for the most part, I've been live streaming. But since my mother passed away in September, I have gone through periods of nothingness, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's a work in progress. But lately, as of late, for the last couple of months, 69, as Anakin has said here, that he's quoting me for what I said earlier. Lately, the highest I've been able to peak at was 69, based on my analytics. Innocent Era says, after signing contract in the National Guard, can you change MOS before shipping? I've only seen it happen once personally, and that's only because the mom of the 17-year-old kid refused to have her son go to OSA for infantry, and he had to choose a non-combat related job, unfortunately. But that was the only time I've ever seen it happen. Is it possible? Yes. Is it likely? No. But you can always plead your case and request an exception to that policy and see what happens. Jose Lopez says, joining active duty at the age of 31 and going infantry. Ooh, freaking Luya. Kathy says, my recruiter said National Guard or reserves are clowns. Gotcha. Well, to each its own, I guess. They just mad because they ain't us. Jose says, joining active duty, going infantry, what are the chances of getting 20 years and getting a pension? Yeah, you can definitely get a pension. Doesn't matter what your job is, but you'll get a pension for 20 years of service for sure. And Atkin says, can you buy new boots in OSA? We already talked about that, but yes. 71 viewers right. Oh, yeah, what? That is a new high lately. As of lately, yes, that is a new high. There's no way I made 71. Well, at least every time I'm looking at it, it's like 50 is like the max tonight I think I saw. But I hope it was 71. That'd be dope. Jose says, joining active duty, going infantry, what are the chances of getting, oh yeah, we're talking about 20 years and getting a pension? Yeah. I mean, as long as you don't get killed, injured, or sick, or tired of this and just simply quit, right? So, I mean, the sky is the limit. Flynn says, what is better for education, reserve or active duty? I'm going to be active duty for 4 years and mandatory 4-year reserve. If I do stay active duty after my first contract, I believe. As far as like college money, like which one's better? So you'll definitely get a hell of a lot more money if you do 3 years or more on federal active duty because of the post 9/11 GI Bill. But it really boils down to what's important to you and why or how you prefer to go around it. So for many people, they don't want to be gone for 3 years and put their college education on the back burner until they finish their time, right? Some people just want to focus on college full time, which is why the National Guard would be a better bet for them and maximize their college benefits. And then after they earn their degree, because they want to aggressively graduate faster rather than later and get their degree. Because when you're active duty, yeah, you can go college online and take a couple of classes here and there, but it's going to take you a lot longer depending on your unit. If you're doing a lot of field training, there's just a lot of variables that will help delay your degree. Now, you can still do it, and many people do it. It's just going to take you a lot longer, and you're not going to have that in-person experience like you would if you're in the Guard or Reserve. That makes sense. But active duty, like I said, 3 years or more, post 9/11 does pay out a lot more. But a lot of people aren't willing to make that investment for a few years and then go that route. But to each its own. You know what I mean? Hopefully that makes sense. Lucas, I'm going to come back to you. Got a super chat coming in from Lane Carp. Is National Guard retirement same as active duty? No. So, for example, let's say, now this is me reading the Army National Guard Almanac, looking at the projected potential earnings like over 10 years ago. So in the book, it said, if you did National Guard for 24 years and you earned the rank of Sergeant First Class and you never deployed overseas, you're looking at a pension of about $1,500, give or take, for the rest of your life after you hit the age 60, versus someone who retires from active duty, where you'll receive, like, for example, 24 years of service as a Sergeant First Class, you'll receive 50%. Well, I'm in the traditional retirement system, so I would get around $3,000 a month, which is half of my base pay, which is a little over $3,000 a month is what I would get in my pension, which I would collect immediately when I retire. And those are like the major differences and the rough estimates what you would make part-time, if that makes sense. But good question. All right. So Lucas, can your ASVAB scores in one branch be used in other cases? Yeah, absolutely. So if you take the ASVAB test and you have not signed a contract, you are a free agent. Those scores are good for the entire military and for the rest of your career once you ship out to basic training, providing that you get MOS qualified, if that makes sense. Gage says, if you apply for OCS in the Guard, how hard is it to transfer active duty? How long will it take the process? That process is probably going to take about 6 months, give or take, and you have to go through HRC in order to make that happen. Specifically, step-by-step how that happens as an officer, if you wouldn't mind telling me if and when you do that, let me know, because I would love to do a video on it. I could just never get a straight answer when I looked into it. But as an enlisted soldier, this would be the process called the Guard to active duty. But from my understanding as officers, when I was digging into it, I was told that you had to go through HRC to make it happen. Number 108, Romeo says, I attempted suicide in my record when I was in the Marine Corps. Oh, yeah, we already talked about that. Innocent says, after signing contract, National Guard. Oh, yeah, we talked about that. Mendy, I appreciate your kind words. Thank you very much. C-Law says, does the do being on autism spectrum disqualify you from the military? Yes, but I did a video, probably the only video on YouTube at all that talks about it. But yeah, here is my autism waiver video. So if you're on the high end spectrum of it, there's a possibility that you could be approved. Watch that video for more. And if you need other understandings of the process of the medical waiver process, here is the medical waiver guide. Watch the first half of the video, well, first 1/3 to half of it before I get into like specifics. But this might also fall in line with the mental health aspect of the waiver too, if you want to check that part out after I go through the basics of everything else. Also says, I attempted suicide in my record. We already talked about that. I don't know what TF23 is when you graduate basic training. Carlu says, do you ever miss the old green? Yes, I kind of do. Low key. What I miss the most is starching the hell out of my uniforms and spit shining my boots. That's what I miss out of the BDUs. That's what I miss the most. And yo, did you have a video on YouTube about this? Not sure what you're talking about. Did I have a video on what? Sapper? You have to go through Sapper training to get the tab. Look up Sergeant First Class Bites. He did a phenomenal video on Sapper. Go watch his video. Anything and everything you want to know about Sapper is in that video. So just go to his page, type in search bar Sapper, and watch his video or two. And he'll tell you all about it. You're very welcome, Mendy. Appreciate you. JG says, not sure if this would get answered, but if I re-enlist as a prior service using my old ASVAB and GT score and goal is to go SF, meaning Special Forces, would I be able to increase the GT score once in? Don't want to retake score. So right now, last time I checked, they were taking people who scored a 100 or better on their GT line score for Special Forces. If you have something less than that, no go at this station. And you can retest before you join, yes, if I'm understanding you correctly. Zach Beebe, this is the first time I recall seeing your name on the stream, so I did not see any previous message. If you're still here, Zach, do me a favor and Instagram direct message me, which is the preferred method. But if you don't have Instagram and you don't want to create it, then you can email me at teamswartzmedia@gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to answer your question there. I have keywords and phrases that are blocked for various reasons on the channel. That may be why I'm not seeing it. This person says, been experimenting with the carnivore diet and was curious to whether it was possible to keep that going during basic. Nope. Not a big deal. If not, just curious. Unfortunately, it won't be, but you can follow it after the fact. And Akin says, Swartz, have you been or have you seen Star Wars, and what's your favorite movie? I have not seen any. Well, I have watched some Star Wars movies growing up. I don't remember anything about them, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. The only movie that I thoroughly enjoyed, as far as like space-like type movies or whatever, or sci-fi movies, was Spaceballs, that made fun of the Star Wars series, which is how and where I got the May the Swartz be with you instead of the May the Schwartz be with you. Let's see. Corrupted says, I was talking about the reaction to basic training. Gotcha. Your analysis. Not following the your analysis part, but Gamer says, what does reception look like, and can they send you home? Yes, they can, and it looks like this. Coming into the chat box. It's also linked down below, I believe, but that's what you should expect at reception, minus the COVID references, okay? This person says, hashtag Team Swartz, truly appreciate all the hard work. Learned a lot from your videos. I'm shipping out in June. Excited times ahead. That's what I'm talking about. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. And if any of you have questions that I don't get to tonight, because I'm going to be logging off soon, this is my Instagram. I respond to every single DM, so please feel free to Instagram, direct message me. I'll be more than happy to answer all of your questions. Vincent Chen says, could you go over the process of joining SAD? I joined New York Army National Guard at 11 Bravo and to do Joint Task Force Empire Shield. So I talk about it in this video here if you want to watch that. And the link is also in the description of that video, but this would be the link that you would look for that job and any other job in the New York Army National Guard. And if you qualify for it based on what they post, you can apply for it. JG says, did 12 months in the reserve. If I do 10 more in the guard, what type of retirement or pension do I qualify for? At this point, if you're in the blended retirement system, it's whatever you're investing in that. But to retire from this, you would need to receive a retirement actual pension, then you need to do 20 years. And Nakin says, in OSA, first day, you can explain briefly what it's like after reception, the bus meeting, the drill sergeants, and then what, first 100 yards. Gotcha. Yeah, it's on my to-do list this year, actually. Christina says, my son is currently in Fort Leonard Wood and is getting hosed by medical claim for scoliosis, which he has never had. So I'm waiting to hear if the discharge or recycle. Any advice? Unfortunately, we're at the mercy of whatever the medical staff at that location states, but they usually send them to a specialist that deals with that. And they basically measure the spine to make sure that it does not exceed 10 degrees. If it's at 10 degrees or less, then the waiver will and should get approved and should be able to move on to training with no issues. If it's beyond 10 degrees, then more than likely that waiver is going to get denied and he will be sent home, unfortunately. Yes, but you won't be able to use them, like I said before earlier in the stream, until like the later part of AIT, rather. Blues was something that we used to wear. Now we're wearing the pinks and greens. If you just Google Army blues, dress blue uniform, and the Army pinks and greens, you'll see the different style of the uniform that we used to wear and what we wear now. Joseph says, took the ASVAB PyCat and scored a 76. Did my fingerprint and all. How long does it take to go to MAPS? I'm an immigrant with a 10-year green card. Good to go. It really depends on how fast MEPS processes your pre-screen to get approved for the medical exam. And the way I work it is 2 days of processing. So you do test, stay in the hotel, medical the next day, and then we obviously consult with the jobs and figure that out, and then reschedule you for contract only. And it could take anywhere from a couple weeks to a month, give or take. 14 or less days. JG says, my plan was to rejoin and do 11 Bravo before I submit a Special Forces, reach out to Klaus for score 97, but GT, but yeah, he won't take you until you get a 100 or 110 better, unfortunately. And Akin, thank you very much. Appreciate you as well. And even when I do retire, I plan on continuing this. My wife just got hired as a recruiter, so I am going to have long-term longevity here on the channel with having direct access to the updates and the nitty-gritty details of the joining process for the Army. So I will be here. She'll actually be, probably when I retire, she'll become more of a face of the channel. It'll be more of a collaborative effort. And I think it would be pretty cool. So stay tuned for that. And I'll introduce her to the channel soon. And she can officially recruit on the channel. But yeah. So Ian, when it comes to qualifying for MOSs, I want you to watch this video. It's also linked down below in the description area. All right. But I appreciate you. Yeah, that sucks. That definitely sucks. You might have to get that taken care of. Anakin Skywalker, appreciate you as always. Thank you guys very much. Thank you so much. I will thank you again for everybody who contributed to Super Chat, Super Sticker, going to my GoFundMe to support my mother and my stepfather and her passing back in September. Long story short, like I said, due to his pride, he didn't want to ask for help or anything, so I'm going out of my way. He doesn't even know I'm doing this for him. So it's going to be a nice surprise. Whatever I do and am able to raise for him, I appreciate that and all the support that I get from you guys. And the prayers are definitely welcome. All right. So appreciate you all. Thank you very much. JG, I said to look up Sergeant First Class Bites here on YouTube. I'll put it right here again. He's got several Sapper videos that are definitely going to go into it. So with that being said, good luck. Be good. Stay blessed.